It was a cold, gray morning in a quiet village nestled between towering mountains. A thick blanket of fog covered the landscape, muffling every sound. The sun had yet to rise, and the silence of dawn carried a strange kind of stillness. The houses were old and crooked, their wooden walls damp with dew, and their chimneys silent. Not a soul stirred in the streets. Down one such narrow path, a little girl walked barefoot. Her name was Elara. She was no older than 9, small for her age, with tangled hair and tired eyes that held stories far older than her years. She clutched a torn piece of cloth around her shoulders to shield herself from the bitter cold. Her feet were red and numb from the frost, but she walked on with quiet determination. Elara had lost everything. Her parents had died in a sudden illness that swept through the village. Not long after, a fire consumed the small wooden house they had lived in. Now, she had no home, no family, and very little hope. The villagers pitied her from a distance but whispered that misfortune followed her. Some even believed she was cursed. They offered food sometimes, or old clothes, but no one ever let her stay. Elara was alone. Still, every day, she walked. She walked to the woods outside the village, where the trees were tall and the wind whispered through their leaves. She spoke to the trees as if they could hear her. She sat by the quiet river and shared her dreams with the flowing water. She whispered to the sky and sang soft songs to the wind. "I will find a better place," she often told herself, her voice firm though soft. "Somewhere, there is light for me too." One morning, as Elara sat near the village well, humming her tune with her eyes closed, a traveler entered the village. He was an old man with a silver beard that flowed like river water and deep eyes that had seen both beauty and sorrow. He wore a thick, worn cloak and carried a wooden staff. As he passed the well, he noticed the girl sitting alone, her lips moving to a tune he could not hear, her body thin and trembling, but her face calm. "You sing?" he asked, gently. Elara opened her eyes and looked up. "I hope," she said. The traveler tilted his head. "Hope? Even now?" She nodded. "Hope is all I have. When no one walks with me, hope does." The traveler sat down beside her and studied her face. Her clothes were torn, her skin pale, but there was something unshakable in her eyes. Something bright. Something alive. He began to tell her stories. Stories of cities far away, where people smiled without fear. Places where children played under the sun, where homes were warm and welcoming, and where the pain of the past could be healed. Her eyes widened with every word. "Can I go there?" she asked, almost whispering. "You can," he said. "But the road is long. It is full of shadows and storms. Many start, but few continue. They grow tired. They lose faith." "I won't," she said simply. "Because when hope walks alone, it still walks." The old man's eyes gleamed with something between pride and sorrow. From his satchel, he took out a warm wool cloak and placed it around her shoulders. He handed her a small, crumpled map, and a piece of bread. "These will help. But remember, they are only tools. The real journey," he said, touching her chest gently, "is in here." And so, Elara walked. She walked for days. Then for weeks. Through forests and across rivers. Through cold nights and endless miles. There were times when she cried. Times when she was hungry. Times when she thought of turning back. But then she would whisper, "When hope walks alone, it still walks," and she would keep going. Years passed. In a faraway town, where golden light danced across the fields in the evenings, a small home stood by a quiet path. It was not grand, but it was full of warmth. Laughter echoed from inside, where children played and sang. And watching over them was a young woman with kind eyes and a calm voice. It was Elara. She had grown. She had survived. And now, she had built a home for children who had no one. She gave them food, stories, and most of all, hope. She told them of dark nights, of talking trees, of an old man by a well. And she told them what she had once told herself. On the wooden arch above the home's door, carved carefully into the wood, were the words, "Where hope walks, no one walks alone."